How's it going, everybody? We got new chaotic raids starting today. That's right. At the time this video is posted and forevermore, we're going to have access to the chaotic raids. I got a lot of thoughts here because last night I was going over the nodes, I was going over the restrictions, and honestly, it seemed like a huge mess and I was really down in the dumps on the raids. Now that I've actually played them, completely different story. I think this is actually really good and I got a lot of info to share with you today, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting with the should you even care? Yes, you should care. Green raids are gone. Ultimates, Doom, Orcus, Incursion, those raids are done. They're retired, they're sunset. You're not going to be able to access them or start them again after today. The new chaotic raids are going to service players from level 1 all the way up to level 105. And if you're at 105, you're going to get some sweet rewards, gear tier 20, coins so that you can target farm certain pieces, and orbs. And the orbs are not for nothing, man. There's also 3 auto-win sections. Yes, so we knew that Mystic and we knew that Tech was going to be safe because those are the new teams. We didn't know there was going to be a 3rd section that you can already do at the highest level with sort of a crippled roster. We're going to talk about what I mean by that, okay? And the final bosses are very, very manageable. Let's just look at the rewards for 1 second over there. I'm showcasing difficulty 5, 70% rewards. Here, we're going to be getting 3 targeted gear tier 20 pieces with that 42,000. And 1,600, those are armory 20 orbs in there. That's a lot. And yeah, I do think 70% is going to be achievable by all endgame alliances right out the gate because of the 3 auto-win sections. And because of the tips I'm going to share with you today so that you're able to hit that 70% without breaking your energy. Alright, so let's talk about some of the playtest things going on here. For the purpose of this footage, this was on the playtest. All characters level 105. All characters are only 7 red stars. I know that sounds crazy. I just said only 7 red stars. But let's put this into perspective. The 3 auto-win teams I'm talking about, they're all older teams. They're farmable, and they're teams that are really good. People have invested a lot of diamonds into. We're talking Night Stalkers. We're talking Orcus. And we're talking, you're going to have to wait for it, all right? We're going to show that 3rd section how easy it is. All the T4s are equipped on all these characters, which is not something that everyone's going to have done, but you should have the appropriate ones done because these are 3 established raid teams. And all characters are purple ice 3, which is just a requirement, okay? Let's go ahead and we're going to start with the Mystic section here. So the Mystic section we knew was going to be absolutely safe. We're not going to watch all of the footage here from the playtest because then this would be a 2-hour video showing a lot of resets in 2 sections and just kind of showing that the learning pains that I went through to be able to share some awesome tips with you. But this is the Mystic section. I'm going through, I'm seeing what kind of enemies we're looking at. The game wants me to use Bifrost. Nope, 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 nope. Of course, we're going to use Night Stalkers, and of course, we're going to use Mephisto. He meshes so well with the Night Stalkers, just kind of helping them get their snowball going. Because when the Night Stalkers get kills, they are activating that energy, and they just get to spam energy, and their speed stat goes crazy, and they never, ever, ever stop. If you wanted the ISOs I would pick for this team, I'm going to be putting Raider on Oath, Raider on Agatha, Striker on Mephisto, Striker on Blade, and Fortifier on Man-Thing. And keep in mind, these are 7 red star characters. You're going to have these guys with a couple diamonds, at least Blade with a couple diamonds. Mephisto, you may not have any diamonds on, that's okay. The Night Stalkers are going to do all the damage and everything. Mephisto's basically just there to give them offense up on spawn. So like I said, we're not going to watch anything. This is the boss. There are bosses on every single one. This is what tilted me yesterday when I was going over this. I thought the enemy bosses were only going to be on the final node of each section. No, there is a mini boss in every single node that will be doing that nasty effect to you. So the effect in Mystic is that you're healing 50% less. But look at that damage. Yes, that Blade comes in. He does absolutely no damage. He's almost dead. Sorry, that Black Knight comes in. He's almost dead. And then Oath finishes him off. Again, these are 7 red star characters, level 105. I understand that not everyone's going to have them at 105. You should start leveling them. Look, the levels are absolutely huge. The damage you get from going from 100 to 105 is gigantic. These raid teams, there's 3 raid teams we're going to talk about in the opening here, super safe to build, okay? So this is going to be your Mystic team. That's it. And if you don't have Mephisto, that's fine. You could go ahead and throw in Moon Knight here. When you get Odin, you can throw Odin in. When you get Null, maybe Null will work. I assume Null will work, but probably wait till he gets some stars. Because we are going to be taking some damage on one of these nodes, but look how flawless these guys just obliterate through this. We're getting infinite energy from the Oath passive. It's just done. It's just done. So let's go ahead and let's fast forward it a little bit here. You can see the first node. I even start using basics just to save my cooldowns. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to enter that second node. I check out the enemies. We got Gladiator. We got Omega Red. We look like, oh, this node could be pretty interesting. it could be pretty interesting. I take that off just so I don't get that bug. And then here we go. All right. So again, you're going to notice there will be an Emma. She will immediately put the debuffs on us. But I also want you to look that these enemies are also doing their effect. So Emma's opening turn, she does get 100% turn meter. She does her special. That is what is going to activate that boss effect for all these enemies, okay? So Emma, she puts slow on everybody. Madeline, her special puts defense down on everybody. Shadow King opens with his ult, because I guess Scopely hates us, and he just kills your bio team out the gate. So I guess I just kind of gave a little spoiler. The Hive Mind team is not the section that is still winning, okay? Just getting that out there. I forgot that Jean Grey, she'll do her special right away. I think that does defense down as well. So you will be eating a boss attack right off rip. And yeah, Shadow King does 2 attacks in a row. It's absolute garbage, okay? The bio section's trash. We'll get there, but the bio section is trash. So again, I don't want to waste your time here. You can see that we're just absolutely ripping through this. So let's just fast forward through this, because I end up doing a lot of basics yet again to save my energy, because I'm playing very safe. And then I want you to see this. This is very important, okay? So people are saying that you cannot skip the boss node. Look at that. You can 100% skip the boss node. Look, see how launch is lit up? Let me rewind that a little bit so we can take another look at that. So this is what I want to establish right at the gate. You can skip all the mini boss nodes except for the 2 final bosses, which I mean, that's the raid's over, so you might as well try them at that point, right? They also give great rewards. One big thing you should be worried about. So see, I can do the Psylocke boss, no problem. I could go past her and do the skill node, no problem. See how that launch button is lit up? You can see there is the difficulty slider. Because it is launched on difficulty 5, you are stuck on difficulty 5. If your alliance is doing the Omega section difficulty 3, but you're capable of doing the boss in difficulty 5, then you could jack that up to 5. Why you would do that? I don't know. The rewards on the nodes are trash. I, for some reason, thought the nodes were supposed to have really good rewards. They don't. All right, guys, while editing this, I did see a thing that I forgot to mention at this part of the video. I bring it up later, but I want to correct the record now. Yes, if I am on this bio node, I can jump over the Shadow King boss and enter the tech section. However, if I start the Shadow King boss fight, I have to finish the node, okay? There is this reset button. You can see it's the reset button. And I can reset the node so that all the enemies go back to their base form and the Shadow King is doing his boss effect again, which is not something you want to do in the bio section, which you're going to see in a little bit. However, once I start the node, my guy is stuck there. So I can reset the node, but I still can't jump past them. I don't think this is the spirit in what they wanted for the reset node. I think they want it to be when you reset the node, yes, you can admit defeat and move over. You can't. So if you attack the node once, you have to finish it before you can go to the next section. This is going to have big implications. We talk about the skill boss and the bio boss. Basically, jump over those bosses. They're trash. All right, back to the regular program. This node really showed how overpowered our teams are to me. Because once again, we're doing this with a 7 red star roster. Also, I've been having a sneaking suspicion this Kahori's taking more than 2 turns. So let's take a look at this. She should, I don't think I have a single controller on the field. So she should take 2 turns to be done. I think she takes 4. So let's see. This is my Night Stalker team. Psylocke goes in. She puts bleed on everybody. Then she puts the anti-heal. Okay, we do have, okay, so that's 1 attack for Kahori. That's 2 attack for Kahori's. That's 3 attack for Kahori. Hey, that's 4 attacks for Kahori's. I don't know why Kahori's getting 4 attacks out the gate. I'll bring that up to Scopely because that's not how that should work. But here's the thing. I think to myself, like, should I back out? Like, I'm going to check her speed stat. I got so mad when this happened. I was like, what do you mean I'm dead right away? We don't even get to see their speed stat on the test server, unfortunately. She should only be taking 2 turns. She should put the passive expose on Oath, and then she should do 2 attacks, not 4. I digress. So I decide, like, screw it, we ball. I go for it, and honestly, this node, like the others, even without Agatha's massive damage, even without her pings, even with only having these characters at 7 red stars, I shred through it. It's not close. We go back to full life, even with the anti-heal. Back to full life. The expose from Oath, the damage from Blade, it's a wrap. It's over. It's done. It's easy. It's easy. You know what? You can bring Dormammu here if you're worried about somebody dying if you want. Well, I guess Kahori puts exposed and then they can't be revived. Scratch that. Don't do that. All right? Just bring Mephisto. But if I had 3 diamonds on Agatha, she 100% survives this. So I would not be worried about this section whatsoever. Even if this Kahori is taking 4 turns, it's simply not gonna matter. All right? The Mystic section is a wrap. It's easy. It's done. Let's go look at the tech section. All right, here we are at the tech section, and this is, well, it's the same as the Mystic section, as it should be, right? We know that every new raid tier that comes, they're going to be giving us 2 sections that are basically solved. This is so that we can get 10%, so we can get 30%, so we can play around with it. We're just going to use full Orcus here. There's not many great tech plug-and-plays anyway, except for, I guess, Doom, and he's not great, right? So again, this is the Psylocke boss. I think this boss just does anti-healing, but with the healing from Scientist Supreme and Omega Sentinel, just like the Night Stalker team, the Orcus team just full heals. Like, Scientist Supreme didn't give a heck about that. She just full healed that minion up. We come in here with Omega Sentinel. She's going to stun the Green Goblin, who is the only threat on the field. And we're definitely going to fast forward through this, because this is a bunch of bots doing basics, and we just absolutely shred through this. I use no strategy. I use absolutely none. I hit center mass with any sort of rewind attacks I had with Lady Deathstrike, and then I just used my cooldowns. When I was starting to finish up the nodes, I just started using auto basics, so I'd have all my energy back up, which I'm not even sure is something you have to do for Orcus. I do think they get a little bit of energy, and we just walk through that node. All right, the second node, much more of the same. I don't want to waste your time here. You're going to be doing this right now, maybe while you watch these videos. These Novas are not the threat that you would think them to be. All right, they get absolutely shredded. The Korg doesn't even do his reflexive taunt because he's just dead before that happens. And then you can see there's 15 enemies on the field. So, I mean, it's more of a time issue than anything else. But we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go and just wax through this node. And it is super duper easy, leading us to the boss node. And the boss node I beat faster than anything else, oddly enough. There is a gore on this node, so I guess you would want to take out the gore as soon as you can. Because as your Sentinel bots die, so will his passive pop off, right? And yeah, I do think this Kohori also took 4 turns. But we just ripped through her, and that's it. I mean, this is over. So what do I have to say about the Mystic and the tech section in particular? They're simmable. With your diamonds, guys, I'm hitting sim on these. I am. I don't give a what? No, I don't care. This is 100% simmable content, which is fine because I don't want to be doing an hour of raids every single day, which is what I did when I was gathering this footage. I did do a lot of extra attacks that I'm not going to do in the live server, but that's neither here nor there, okay? This is simmable. This is great. This is why you build your raid teams up to the max. If you don't min-max your raid teams, you get the benefit later on. If they ever do a goddamn Crucible rule again with raids, hopefully these guys are still going to be the true tramps. Champs! The true champs. All right. But these are the only 2 simple sections, in my opinion. There is a third section that is auto-win. We will not have to increase or level up any new characters for the Mutant section. Let's go look at it. All right, so here we are in the Mutant section. In the Mutant section, oddly enough, the boss just stops, I think he just stops healing, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I'm going to show it here in a second, or not. Never mind. I'll show it afterwards. But we're just going to use Extreme and Old Man Logan here, because we still get the speed bar. I do believe it stops your healing, but once again, the healing from Forge, especially if Forge is a healer, and from Old Man Logan just doing his own thing, is insane. We can watch some of these nodes. This is mostly autoplay, honestly. You may be able to sim parts of it. And there's amazing characters you could plug in here to make this even better. Why not use Shadow King? You know, the Sunspot, I believe he's only giving damage to the Extreme members, so why don't I get rid of Sunspot and I bring in Shadow King? And I just be careful with my cooldowns going from node to node. Because if I'm using alts, Shadow King's popping off like crazy. Or what if I get rid of Forge and I bring in Shadow King? So that Sunspot still give me that energy on spawn. I can still open up with a Nightcrawler ultimate on all the nodes. Or what if I just use the Extreme team with Old Man Logan, but it has diamonds on it now. And we just tear through the Mutant section like it's absolutely nothing. Here's my thought process, guys. I do think they are getting people, Professor X, 3 times faster than people got Mephisto. Not as fast as people got Odin, but 3 times faster than people got Mephisto. So I think after about 3 months, heavily engaged free-to-play players will be getting Professor X. And for those players, that would nullify this section anyway. They wouldn't be able to sell a team, so they didn't bother. They just said, fine, just keep your speed bar on Old Man Logan, absolutely crush us, and we go from there. It also vastly increases the value of diamonds, though I'm showing right here. A 7 red star Old Man Logan is more than enough to get through all this, so that's really, really good. But once diamonds are on Old Man Logan, through the roof, guys. Through the roof, and then this might actually become simple. Look how easy this node was. Absolutely tore through it. My jaw hit the floor when I saw this. I was like, wait, the oldest raid team, the Extreme team, is still functioning. That's insane. All right, so we continue on, and now we're going to open up with a Nightcrawler Ultimate, because it is no 2, and he can. Slow on everybody, speed up on us. Enemy's dead. It's as simple as that. I don't even use any sort of intelligent targeting here. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should stun Black Cat with Old Man Logan, get my revive up. Maybe I should just ult and kill everybody. Like, my thought process here is not super thought out. This was done at 2 o'clock in the morning, mind you. And that's the second node. It's done. Ripped through. 100% life. We keep our charges up. Oh, the one thing I do on these nodes is I look for Gores. I look for Black Cats. Any character that can take my charges away, get him out of here. We're not feeling that, right? We don't like that. So yeah, Emma here, she'll put slow on us right away. It doesn't matter. Nightcrawler spawns with speed up. He's going to go right after. He's going to put slow on the enemy. He's going to give you speed up, basically nullifying it. Or if you really want, you can use a Nightcrawler special to give speed bar to everybody, and then Logan's just going to pop off forever, right? It's just not a big deal. The mutant section is super easy, which is great. Right away, okay, so guys, what I'm telling you, just so that we're all absorbing this information the same way, what I'm telling you is that 3/5 of this raid is solved. You know what 3/5 is? 60%. We just got to get to 70%, and we are looking really pretty with gear tier 20 incomes. Really, really pretty. I honestly think that my alliance, which has a lot of new players in it, will be fine here. Because I've told them, like, hey, your raid teams are important. Your extreme team, your Old Man Logan team, those teams are important. But you can see this boss node is absolutely nothing. The Liberty members and Hank are definitely tankier than the 2 nodes that came before this. I definitely started sweating a little bit. And then Old Man Logan turned it on and it was over. But I gotta always keep in my mind, on the live server, my Nightcrawler, my Sunspot, my Gambit, they're gonna have diamonds. Diamonds go hard. Diamonds are really, really impactful, okay? I have not leveled up my extreme team to 105. I will be now. I will be now because they are the lock-in for this section. This is just great. And look, Old Man Logan, he's going to get a big chain attack because he has claws out. That's going to be it for those 2 Liberty members. It's just Peggy Carter left, and I do think I get to Peggy Carter before she gets to do anything either. And yeah, Forge popping off here. I don't know. Maybe I would replace Forge with Shadow King on this node. Just get a bunch of ults off and watch Shadow King's passive go crazy. And then he gets speed bar and he can ult people into oblivion. Even see the Peggy Carter, because she has offense down, does very, very little damage to us. The Sasquatch, not having offense down, did kind of meaningful damage, but with Old Man Logan in the middle, all he really did was fuel my speed bar and let me get more wins here. So those are 3 sections that are just completely solved, guys. I would say that if you're really lazy and you do have your team with diamonds and level 105, you can sim Mystic, Tech, no problem. The Mutant section, I would play it out, at least for the first little bit, especially if you don't have them at 105 with diamonds on them, especially then. But this is great. This is great news. There are 2 other sections, however, that's not so great. Let's go talk about those. All right, let's start with the bio section, because I've kind of given you hints about what the bio section is going to be like already. And I think just this opening is pretty much going to explain it. So let me just fast forward a little bit here. I throw together my Hive Mind Skrull team. We go in and watch this. Watch what the Shadow King does. This is super fair. Actually, you know what? It's more fair that he ults turn 1 than if you were to ult turn 2 because of what happens next, which is ridiculous, right? So against these 7 Red Star Hive Minds, he absolutely obliterates everybody. In 3 diamonds, I don't think is going to change very much, because then he comes in with offense up from the Guardian. And he killed 2 of my characters before I got a turn. We don't get speed bar because of the boss effect. So what we need to do on this node is we need to do a burn attack, which is exactly what I do. So I back out. I say that's ridiculous. I didn't back out. I quit because this is a playtest. I get infinite heals. I did 0 damage. I used none of my cooldowns, so it's all fine. I heal them back up, and I go back in, and then it is a completely different story. And that is just what you're going to have to do on any bio node you want to do. So now that we burnt him, let's watch his interaction. Once you attack a node once, the boss effect is off the table, for the most part. I did have one that reapplied it halfway through the node for no reason. It didn't matter, though, because it was against the Mystic team, I think. So, boss effect not applying. The Sasquatch comes in, gives a bazillion buffs. Skrull gets to go. He's going to take 3 turns in a row. That activates Hive Mind, and you're on to the races. Every bio node is this way. Because you saw what Shadow King did. If you go into the Shadow King mini-boss, without him being burnt, he kills you. He's going to ult you, and then he's going to special you, and then it's over. If you do a burn attack, Well, first you need to go in with characters that are actually going to pull his abilities, right? So we go in with Invisible Woman. We go in with, I think, Gruta's bio, Miss Marvel, Miss Medusa. We pull the ultimate for Shadow King. We pull the ultimate because he does take turns back to back. Then you go in with Hive Mind Skrull, and then you absolutely just walk over the node. It's not even close. And that's true for literally both nodes. I don't even think I attempted the second node without doing a protect. Yeah, you see, I do a burn attack right away. I just said, no. I'm not dealing with that again because I know Shadow King's going to instantly one-shot me. You see, he does it to these characters as well. Instantly wrecks. And then once this is over, I do some attacks there. I actually got some good damage in. I go in with Hive Mind Skrull, and we just walk over it. The damage that the team eventually does when Shadow King isn't neutering their speed bar is immeasurable. Which begs the question, are we going to be using 100% on these raids just by burning these bosses? Yeah, we are. We'll talk about leaderboards at the end of this video. So same with the boss node. I do a quick burn attack into it. I use some Spider Society members. It goes absolutely off the rails. I get very little damage done. And then I'm going to go back in with Hive Mind Skrull. And the reason I'm not showing the full nodes, guys, first of all, you guys don't want to be here for 2 hours. But also, I use no strategy. I use zero strategy at the end of the day. Burn attack, Hive Mind Skrull, done. We're good. It's over. We win. Is that super clever? I don't love it. I mean, I don't love that sort of strategy. I would have preferred them to have nodes that, with Hive Mind Skrull, I could, like, beat half of it. Someone else comes behind me and gets it done. But what I'm going to suggest people do for this section is, in order to save your energy and make sure we're clearing the 3 sections we know we can clear, and because this is really easy, right? You throw one attack in, and then you clear with Hive Mind. I'm going to suggest, to make sure we're getting 70%, what alliances should do is you have a buddy system. 2 people tackle 1 lane for bio. You have 4 people per side. So that means you're going to clear 2 bio lanes. You can even clear the bio boss, or you can skip the bio boss, because the bio boss won't help your completion. It'll only help your seasonal rankings, right? So we could skip the bio boss altogether, so that we're not wasting 2 energy between 4 people, or sorry, 4 energy between 4 people. And we just go and we clear the sections that are going to give us percentage, because the boss nodes are worthless. And that's just what we can do. That alone is going to give us 7%. But we have another section to talk about. The section that is being replaced by the Vigilante team, the skill team. Let's go look at them real quick. All right, guys, it's time to do the skills section. This section is the section I spent the most time on. I spent about 30 minutes on this section, and it is rough. This is super surprising to me. I was very surprised when the Vigilante team was the first team to be announced. I kind of get it, though, because the Daredevil show is happening right now. So if you want to make a Daredevil team and you want it to be the raid team, I guess you just have to replace these guys. And the manner in which these guys are replaced sucks. It sucks. It feels bad. But and we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about the whole vibes of the raid after this section. I kind of get it. So what we have here, and remember, I have no diamonds on my Spider Society, so I could be off on what's actually going to happen. Because look, Noir still absolutely tanked that Lizard's life and that A-Bomb. The A-Bomb's going to die here very soon, right? But essentially the way this goes, without the buffs, the Spider Society team, they're so susceptible to damage, they just eventually get owned, is what happens. So it looks really good. I could see a world where with 3 diamonds, we actually will get a lot of value here. And we may be able to beat a full node without doing a burn attack. But with 7 red stars, it just didn't work. I didn't want to waste my time or your time going through this. We just get owned eventually by the Goblin dropping in. So what I do is I back out, and then I start looking like, okay, well, let's do a burn attack like the bio section, right? We just talked about it. After a burn attack, it is super easy. And then I start looking at the skill characters, and I notice we have a lot better skill characters than we have bio characters. Bio characters have clearly been forgotten, and that is very unfortunate. So I ended up going with a bunch of new stat characters, and honestly, I put Moondragon as a healer. I would have her as a raider. And just looking at this, I think of all these characters, Captain Sam, Moondragon, Endgame Thanos, Black Knight, we would have diamonds on these guys too. All these characters are characters that people are bringing up to 100, if not 105. Liberty, the Kiln Tower, they're great in war. Obviously, Endgame Thanos is Arena. Black Knight is Black Knight. Moondragon, Astral, Battleworld, amazing Crucible team, a pretty good war team as well. So I can see people maxing this out, and Lilandra has to go to Gear Tier 20, right? You have to do that for Professor X. So look at this damage from Captain Sam, and I'm like, whoa, if he had diamonds, like, some people are dying here, okay? And then, like, the second wave, if I were to go to the the robot up there, Spider Slayer, and I had just annihilated that cluster instead of what I do here, then I would have summoned in the next wave. And in summoning in the next wave, Lilandra would have been ulting them, presumably, unless we have to full clear this wave, I guess. And then I would have a lot of damage and a lot of control heading into that second wave. What I'm trying to get at is I believe, yeah, no, see, they summoned it. So I do believe that there is going to be a hybrid skill team. It may not be this. It could include Punisher. It could include Electro with the new stat. Think of like a Punisher ulting into this wave here, just obliterating the Green Goblin because Green Goblin's a villain, right? I could see a hybrid team coming in and demolishing one node. Probably this node because it's the easier node for sure. And then that really opens up the door as far as raid completion goes. But I do end up dying here. I think that, again, I attribute that to the 7 Red Stars characters that I'm kind of limited to do on the playtest. So we do come in after that, cleaning up with Spider Society, absolutely no problem. The second node is incredibly more difficult, more challenging. So we're going to have a bunch of extreme members and a Sasquatch. So they just get so many buffs. We're stuck on the Sasquatch. Without our own buffs, we literally cannot get through the Sasquatch. Again, with diamonds on Spider Society, I can see us getting through the Sasquatch easier, but we're probably, like the bio section, going to have to do a burn attack here and then come in with our buffs. We would easily get through it. And there's just that. Okay, and then there's the boss node. First of all, there was a bug here on the boss node. I did a burn attack into the boss node, and she still ended up putting the debuff on me afterwards. Sorry, this is the cleanup on node 2 we're doing right here. And I actually died there. It was just a damage check. Diamonds would have solved that. The boss node is just not worth it, right? The boss node is for leaderboard points, for the seasonal leaderboard. It is not for completion in the raids. You see, I back out right away. And because it's not for completion, I think most alliances are going to put so much more value on hitting 70% than getting the leaderboard rewards because, well, two things right now. The leaderboard rewards are not interesting. I do think that's going to be rectified. But also, other alliances that care enough about the leaderboards, they will be coring the ever-living heck out of this raid if they add a meaningful amount of gear to 20 to the seasonal stuff. And they're going to be getting 100%. Now, do you really want to start allocating like 400 cores daily for raids? I guess it depends if they put like 100 gear to 20 orbs in there for the seasonal stuff, but probably not, right? Probably not. We'll talk about why I think they kind of nailed the leaderboards situation here in a second. But this is the boss node after a burn attack, and it does not go well. I still can't get off of that gladiator and end up dying. Once again, I think diamonds would change that. But yeah, the second wave comes in and obliterates me. And also on this node, and we'll get into this in a little bit, this node, I learned that the reset feature does not allow you to jump over the boss node. So if you want to jump over the boss node, you have to do it immediately. You cannot attack the boss node like I'm doing right now, reset the node, and then jump over it to the next section. Don't do it, okay? Just skip the skill boss. I just don't think it's worth it until we get the Vigilante team. They're coming out real soon. This is going to greatly open up the raid completely to the point where it's just bio section. And because the bio section, you can do one burn attack and then clear it. I think 100% is going to happen really fast for this raids. So much faster than the past. But let's go and let's talk about why I do think these raids are probably the best implemented. Most player friendly anyway. Maybe not the most interesting, but let's go talk about it. All right, guys, now that we've seen the gameplay for all the sections, let's talk about just the validity of this raid launch. Is this a really good raid launch? Is it not? And I'll give some suggestions on how to min-max not only your completion, but maybe even some little extra leaderboard points along the way as well. So why do I think this is a success? Well, I think endgame alliances at the highest difficulty will be able to get 70% quite easily, which is 3 targeted gear to 20 pieces from the X-Coin store, and an orb and a half every 2 days. And these orbs, if you're unaware, do give 4 gear tier 20 pieces. Yes, it is RNG, but this still fact tracks us to Professor X. And with the addition of this raid, I actually think that Professor X is probably going to take 1/3 the time it took to get Mephisto, but twice as long as it took to get Odin. Like, if you are a heavily engaged endgame player, I think you're going to get Professor X way faster than you got Mephisto, but a little bit longer than you got Odin. Because a lot of people were unlocking Odin in the first month if they were super engaged with leaderboards, even as free-to-play. Believe it or not, I know a lot of you don't. That's okay. So I do really like these rewards. I like that the boss nodes, with the exception of the final 2, are optional. They are just for leaderboards. The reason I like that is because we would not have enough energy to actually do these lanes otherwise. You have 4 people per side. That's 48 energy. If we just do the math, we'd have 5 sections times 3. That's 45. We're going to add 5 boss nodes. That's 50. 51 on the main boss. You literally would not regenerate enough energy to do 100% on these raids daily. Especially when we got a 2-tap nodes in the skill and bio section, right? So this is actually going to be the first raid where you have to go the extra mile to get to the tippy top of the leaderboards. And I think that is actually a healthy thing to do. However, the leaderboards are trash. I expect this to change with the next raid tier. It only makes sense. I think they finally set it up in a way that if this is something you want to go for, you really have to go earn it. Especially in the early moments of this raid when you would have to use a lot of extra cores to make sure you can do a burn attack in bio, then clear it. A burn attack in skill, and then clear it. Right? And so they're going to sell energy offers. I'm sure a lot of those will get bought up if they add Gear Tier 20 to these leaderboards. So I think this is going to be another source of Gear Tier 20 things, which is actually pretty exciting. I also would like to point out that the way they zoned out our teams feels really gross, but I would invite you guys to remember what the Incursion, I think it was Incursion 1 raids were like. It was these ones. I remember this. First of all, it looks dumb, right? They're going for like DNA strands. It was dumb. Okay, anyway. When these raids launched, Biotic Avengers were hard countered by this rule. You could not beat the tech nodes. You just couldn't. And there was no, I'm going to call it like an exhaust mechanic on these mini bosses where we go in once, we burn them, and then we can go in and clear it, and we're good. There was nothing like that. You just couldn't clear the tech section. And this was also true for the Mystic section. We just couldn't do this until Bifrost came out. It was garbage. You couldn't. So the fact that for this new chaotic raids, there is a way that we can get 100% completion before the new raid teams comes out, I think is great. And I think it leaves room for the developers to actually make raid teams good. Like the Night Stalkers are really good in other game modes. So now the Night Stalkers, or the Vigilante team, let's use them as an example, is sort of a luxury because I can get through the skills section if I do burn attacks. I'll not have enough energy to recuperate along the way, but I can. So now the developers can actually make the Vigilante team good elsewhere. And then I'm incentivized not only raids, but to use them. Apparently they're supposed to be good on offense. We'll see if that's true. And I think that's fantastic. So I really like that. And I haven't even spoken about the different difficulties you can go through. If we go down to the normal difficulty, which I will showcase on the new account I'm making, the enemies are blue geared like nebulas. So it's perfectly fine. Like everybody is going to be doing the same raids. We're going to go through it, grow through it together. There'll be very obvious moments when you're able to up the difficulty. And I think that that is a fantastic way to keep everybody in the game, in the community, on the same page. I really, really enjoy that. But I got a couple recommendations for you so that in the early moments of this raid, you are not pulling your hair out. So here is my dorky suggested route. You should clear all of the Mystic, Mutant, and Tech nodes. You can avoid the mini bosses on these nodes if you don't care about leaderboards, which nobody will care about leaderboards until they add Gear Tier 20 to it, and you're concerned about energy. Then you should avoid the mini bosses because there's no point to them. They don't help your completion. They don't get you to that 70%. There's no good rewards on the nodes themselves, so avoid them until they make the leaderboards more enjoyable, I guess. 2-man laid teams for bio/skill, or even dogpile it, because you're going to get 70% just by dogpiling through, beating the big bosses. Keep in mind, the nodes themselves, if I were to check right now, the mini boss node is worth 50% milestone points and 5 million completion, and so is every other node. So it's not like for the leaderboard you want to force extra boss nodes. The actual regular nodes, they're just as valuable, okay? So keep that in mind if you're worried about leaderboards once again. Avoid the bio and skill mini bosses completely. This is just for energy. There is no reason to do them because you will have to 2-tap them with our current setup, so just don't worry about them. Now keep in mind, guys, we do get 12 rate attacks that kind of just regenerate daily unless you get capped and then you're wasting that refresh time. And we're going to start with 80. So this is going to be sort of your cushion. You're going to have an 80 additional energy. If you start going over 12 attacks daily, then this is going to run out quite quickly, right? And then you might have to core to get it back up if you're worried about doing something insane. Now, if you're alone, this route that I have posted, where we clear all the Mystic and Mutants, we clear all of their boss nodes as well, we do 2-man teams for the bio skill, we avoid those bosses, but we do the final boss, that would require 13 daily attacks if you get 0 assistance from your alliance, which means you will have to core energy, but you will not get 0 assistance from your alliance. With 4 members, you're going to get 48 attacks. So what we need to do is assign a Weaver in each lane. A Weaver, I'll do more on that later. I'll have a video for that. But essentially, the 4th member is just going to zigzag from left to right on the sections that you're full clearing. Obviously, on the sections that you're dogpiling. He'll just zigzag through the sections that you're full clearing because he can go to whatever node he wants at whatever time he wants to make sure that energy's okay. With that, though, we will still have to avoid some of the mini-bosses in the Mystic, Mutant, and Tech nodes, and we want to finish the final boss. The final boss gives us completion, right? So that's going to be the tips, guys. It's going to make a lot more sense when you do it in real time, but you need to have somebody weaving. So 3 assigned lanes, 1 Weaver going in and out. Don't tell people just go YOLO, because that's always a disaster at the end of the day. So when the map is now up on the website, I'll make a map. I'll share it with you guys. This video has been way too long. Let me know what you think about these chaotic raids. Let me know how you feel about them phasing out the button skill teams. I know it feels gross, but it was grosser what they did in Incursion. So this is actually a step up. Let me know how you feel about getting Gear Tier 20. Do you think the leaderboards are going to get Gear Tier 20 infused in them? That's the only thing that makes sense. Like, if you want to incentivize people to core to get additional nodes then for the leaderboard, you better throw some of the new shit on there, right? And let me know if this video helped you. If it did, make sure you leave it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.